a video on tinned apples and how expensive they are now. They seem to have rocketed up in price. So they're about £7 for 2.6 kilos, and there's a little bit of liquid in there. There's about 400 grams, so that's the drained weight, it's 2.2 kilos, so there's about 400 grams worth of liquid in there, and that just kind of comes from the cooking process. So I kind of thought £7 is too much for that, and I kind of thought that surely we can buy them. I don't want to have to buy apples and peel them and cook and chop them myself, because it's just time. You know, it'd take me an hour to kind of do that much worth of peel and chop that much worth of apples. So I kind of like, I don't really want to have to do that. I'd rather spend that hour doing something else, making videos for YouTube, obviously. So I kind of thought it's a different way of doing. So I've been to Farm Foods. Let's put that up that way so it doesn't fall over. I've been to Farm Foods and I bought some frozen apple slices. So these are 800 grams. I bought 3, so that adds up to just 200 grams less of what's in the tin, and they're on special offer, but it's not really special offer because they come out at 800 grams of apples for £7. So I'm like, it's not cheaper to kind of do it that way. And then I kind of thought, well, when they're defrosted, there's going to be potential liquid coming out of those, because when you freeze things, the water molecules kind of want to split out of the cells of the fruit, and you end up with an apple juice that kind of comes out of it. So just a video to kind of like faff around and see if juice comes out and what they look like, and if it's going to be worth my time, and if it's going to save me a bit of money and all that kind of stuff. So there's some liquid in the bottom there. Yep, that's definitely apple juice because it's split. The bags will have split. You know, like when you put plastic in the freezer, everything inside becomes hard, and then the hard bits, when you're moving the bags around, kind of go through plastic which is weakened because it's been in the freezer. So you end up with the bags that kind of split. It's not that they split on the seals, it's just that they get a bit damaged because they've got something frozen inside them. It's hard, so I need a colander. And also this will just kind of, I have to go to the cash and carry to buy tins of apples, whereas if I can just go to a supermarket and buy apples, will it be a suitable alternative? So if I'm faffing around with a video and an idea, I might as well make a video. Faffing around with a video. No, if I'm faffing around with something, I might as well make a video about it, because it's interesting to find these out. I would get some brown bits. That has to be taken into consideration, that we're going to get some brown bits with these. So Farm Foods is primarily a supermarket that sells in frozen foods. Oh, the other supermarkets sell frozen foods and fresh foods, but Farm Foods is primarily a frozen food supermarket. So they sell lots of things like this and fruit and things. So how's the apple taste? We'll be able to make an apple sauce straight out of it. Those apples are raw, so they've just been peeled and sliced and put on and frozen. There we go. That's interesting. So the ingredients are apple slices 99%, and then we've got salt, acidity regulator, citric acid, antioxidant and sorbic acid. So the antioxidant will stop them from going brown. So what we're going to do with these, and we're going to now see the tinned apples we can turn straight into an apple sauce, but these frozen apples are fresh, so we're going to have to make I need some apple sauce anyway. We could just put them in an apple crumble, couldn't we? Put some sugar on them, put a crumble topping on them, and then that'd turn into an apple crumble. But I need some apple sauce, so I'm going to turn those into an apple sauce. Yeah, we've got quite a lot of liquid coming out of those as well. And I think once the time they are cooked, we will lose even more volume. So I don't think it's worth buying the frozen ones over the tinned ones, even though the tinned ones are kind of too expensive as they are. Even more expensive to buy frozen ones in what we call it in the supermarket. So not going to be cheaper. I don't want to open that tin because I haven't got any space in the fridge. So I'm at home, and this isn't work. This is for just faffing around with. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pause. I'm going to have a think. Right, let's not cook them. Let's make an applesauce. So let's puree them down with some sugar and see if we can make an applesauce and see what happens to it. So you don't kind of want to. And my kind of question is there enough of an antioxidant in there once it's been pureed? Because the surface area of that is smaller than something if we were to puree it. So the antioxidant might just be on the outside of that. Once we puree it, will it all go brown? That's what we're asking, without having to cook it. So in essence, that's what take that off. That's what an applesauce is. Well, an apple puree, something that you would have with roast pork, which is delicious. But see, I was going to say this that apples still taste like apples if you cook them or not. But there is a fresh apple tastes different to a cooked apple. So that's a fresh applesauce, as opposed to most applesauces that you have. It's cooked, and it's cooked because it's preserved. So this is a longer video than it needs to be, isn't it? 7 minutes already. So let's leave that and see if it goes brown. If it goes brown, we know we have to cook it. We have to cook them, which I suppose I've been a little bit scathing of these so far. But let's say something positive. So if you wanted to make an apple crumble, like I said, they'd be really good because you just quickly toss them in some sugar, add some sugar, quickly mix it around, put them in a container, put them in an oven-proof container, put some crumble on top, bake it straight away, and that'd be fine. If you were to leave the sugar on for a long time, it would draw out some of that moisture and it would from the apples, and it would make a soggy crumble, which is not what you want. But mix it quickly and cook it straight away. Those would be fine. So that'd be kind of good for that. If you were making chutneys and things like that, and purees, not wanting to peel and core all those apples, they'd be spot on for that as well. Same with the tin ones, but they're readily more available for most people. Like most people can't go to cash and carry and buy a tin of apples that big. So I'll say something nice about those. And not a bad price. Not a bad price, not a bad price. And also if you were £7.50, so they're probably about £2.50. They're probably about £2.50 a piece, but it's knocked down to £7 if you buy 3. So we'll leave that, see if it goes brown, and then decide. I've got that juice. See, normally I'd reduce that juice down. We don't want that juice in it, do we? Either, because that's just going to make it a wetter apple sauce. Whereas that looks like it's going to be decent consistency, but the sugar might want to let some of the liquid come out. I'm waffling, but as always I'm thinking way through things. So we'll leave as is, but I think we might have to drain the apples if we're going to make an apple sauce, a sweet apple sauce, and not use the liquid. And also, sometimes I don't always want to open a whole tin of apples, so buying frozen ones will be fine. So that's another thing we've worked out as well. So that's another good point we can say about them. I don't want to be horrible about them. I quite like farm fruits at the shop. But anyway, so I'm going to go swimming, so we can leave that out and see what happens and if it goes brown. And those can just go in there and go in the fridge. Fine, but we'll leave that out. That'll be fine. Right, that's what we'll do. Decided. So, it's been out for a couple of hours while I've been swimming. So it probably needs throwing away since it's been out for a couple of hours. But it's kept its colour, and the sugar hasn't made the liquid kind of come out of it. Hasn't. And there we go. So, sugar's also melted into it as well. So it's not, we've lost those granular bits of granulated sugar. There we go. So, what do we take from that? That we can't get cheap apples unless we actually buy them and peel them and core them ourselves. I don't want to do that. So the only way around is to buy tinned and frozen. They're about the same price. We might get them the frozen ones a little bit cheaper in other shops. So farm foods is cheap if I think what is it? If you spend 25 quid, you get maybe a couple of quid off. So you kind of have to be spending quite a lot. And the stuff isn't as cheap as the other supermarkets, but they have a bigger range of frozen things. So nothing I can do. I either have to buy them frozen or in tinned. Can't save myself any money. Can't get them cheaper. But there are good things about the frozen ones, and we can turn them straight into a sauce. They're not going to discolour, and cook with them straight away. So there we go. There is some plus sides to it, and I can buy a packet. I don't have to buy a whole tin, so there is a kind of saving there. I don't have to put something. I don't have to open a whole tin and freeze half of it. I can just buy some frozen ones, just buy a packet or two of frozen ones, and use them as is. But there we go. Success.